Listen now to the low, mournful sound of Salisbury, North Carolina, springtime of '63. It wasn't the sound of cannons yet, no. It was the sound of an empty cook stove, the tinny, pitiful echo of a spoon in an abandoned flour bin. Miss Eudora's husband, bless his poor sweaty soul, was up in Virginia fighting for a cotton crop he barely ever touched, leaving her with 3 little mouths that knew the difference between a promise and a piece of dry crust. Lord, the speculators were bleeding that town white. The price of flour, it flew higher than the church steeple. And the price of salt, that life-giver, was a scandal before God and man. Eudora, she didn't just get angry, child. That anger, it grew in her belly like a hard, bitter fruit. She called on Mrs. Clemmy, whose eyes had gone flat and gray as river mud from worry. 50 of them, maybe more. The wives, the mothers, the women whose dresses were held together by sheer will and darning thread. They didn't wear fancy sashes. They wore the uniform of necessity. They walked out of the pines and into the square with a purpose that made the very air vibrate. They carried hatchets, yes, those humble tools meant for kindling, now raised like scepters of righteous famine. They broke the locks of that merchant's storeroom, the dust of the other Carolina earth rising to bless their deed. And when they carried those barrels of flour away, the lawmen, they just stood, heads bowed, chewing their tobacco, for they knew, deep in their gut, that a Southern woman pushed too far ain't an enemy. She's a natural disaster. No arrests, just the silent, terrible understanding that a hungry woman is the truth telling itself. But Salisbury was just a curtain raiser, bless his provincial heart. You want to see true tragedy, child? You got to go to the magnolia-scented decay of Richmond, the grand, rotten jewel of the Confederacy. April 2nd, the sun was bright, almost mocking. Here, the tragedy had a name, Mary Jackson. Now, Mary wasn't no dainty thing. She was a mother, tall and taut, with an eye that could see right through a hypocrite silk waistcoat. She saw the city's elites feasting while her children tasted nothing but water and fear. She gathered over 1,000 souls, a ragged army of petticoats and frayed dreams, right in Capitol Square where President Davis put on his airs. The chanting, honey, it wasn't just noise. It was a prayer backed by a threat. Bread or blood! When Governor Letcher gave him the cold shoulder, well, that's when the Furies broke loose. They didn't just walk. They stormed the high-end shops. Main Street shattered beneath their heels. Glass rained down like diamond tears. They took the ham and the flour, yes, but they took the shoes, the ribbons, the very things denied to them by a government that valued a cotton field over a human life. And then the moment of pure, agonizing drama. President Jefferson Davis, all puffed up pride and sickly dignity, rides in. He stands on a wagon, holds up his personal money. Insult! And when that failed, he gave him 5 minutes before the troops fired. Oh, the power of that threat. The women scattered, yes, but not before they'd left their stain on the marble halls of power. They proved that even in the capital of Dixie, starvation could tear down the very facade of glory. Davis saved his army, but he lost his home front. And that, my dear, is a tragedy of Sophoclean scale. Now hold on a minute, child. Before you thinking that this whole Southern rebellion was just white privilege, just white folks kicking up a fuss, you hush your modern mouth and listen to the full song of the South. The fire of defiance, bless its heart, comes in a rainbow of female defiance. Your books, they ain't gonna tell you about the free women of color in New Orleans or Charleston. They had skin like coffee and history like steel. Their men were often impressed into Confederate labor. Their very freedom was always on a razor's edge. Their descent, it was quiet, steady, deep-rooted like the swamp cypress. While the white women were riding for flour, the black women were starving the Confederacy of intelligence. They slipped messages through lines, guiding the runaways, acting as eyes and ears for the Union troops, right under the noses of their former enslavers. They weren't breaking windows for bacon. They were shattering the whole system of slavery one whisper at a time. Their defiance was the promise of true freedom, a light shining where no one was supposed to see. And the Cherokee women in the Smokies, they who held the authority of the clan and the cairn, their men were forced to choose sides, tearing the nation apart. But the women, the matriarchs who governed the land and the harvest, they decided who would eat and who would starve. Their resistance wasn't just against the Confederacy, it was for the sovereignty of their own people. When the Confederate allied Cherokee demanded supplies, the women hid the stores, refusing to feed a war that didn't belong to them. They packed their children and walked into the brutal mountains, choosing refugee hardship over colonial subjugation. Their defiance was the will to survive, carved into the ancient stones of their homeland. So you see, child, from the dusty market square to the grand capital, from the back alleys of Charleston to the deep laurel hills of the mountains, the women bore the cost of that bloody arrogance. And now, look around. The prices are high, the rhetoric is poison, and the men in charge, they ain't listening to the rustle of desperation. You think those buffoons in charge know about the looming danger? About what happens when pushing women with bourbon and rebellion coursing through their blood too hard and too far? These rebels wear pantyhose in oppressive humidity while staving off tragedy that begins with arrogant utterances of, "Hey y'all, watch this!"